Hey everyone, Josh here with a look at another Star Wars toy, and today we're going to unbox a 3 3/4 inch Black Series. This is Ahsoka Tano, so let's go set this girl free. Alright everybody, here we are today with a 3 3/4 inch Black Series. This is Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars TV show. And we're going to unbox this figure today, but I want to quickly spin the packaging around, let you guys take a look at it. So, isn't a whole lot to these Black Series packaging on the back. You just get a quick character description here, and I'll go ahead and read that to you guys. Ahsoka Tano, Anakin Skywalker's apprentice, Ahsoka Tano left the Jedi Order before it was destroyed during the Great Jedi Purge, but the truth of her fate remains unknown. So if you're a fan of Ahsoka, I'm sure you know most of her story, but if you don't, the gist of it is this is Anakin's apprentice, and the character was introduced in a animated movie that introduced the Clone Wars TV show. Before it was a TV show, they released an animated movie, and that's where she was introduced, and then you follow her through the Clone Wars TV show. And so let's go ahead and start opening her. And when you watch the show, what you'll see is when she's introduced, she's a child, and as the TV show progresses, she grows up a little bit. And so what you're seeing here, this is the more, I guess an accurate description would be the teenaged version of her. So when the show starts, she's a small child, and after about season 3, they change her look a little bit and they age her up a little bit, and she's more like a teenager. And then if you're really familiar with her, you know that this character also appears in the TV show Rebels, and they kind of close out her story arc a little bit. And I don't want to throw out a bunch of spoilers if you haven't seen it, but if you want to find out how her story ends up to this date, I'm sure they're going to make more stuff with Ahsoka shows or movies. I wouldn't be surprised if you see her pop up in a Star Wars movie in the near future. She's a very popular character. But here is the actual character, and there we go. And so, as I was saying a second ago, this is her in about, her teenage years. And this is the look they gave her in the last 3 seasons of the show. And I think when we get season 7 here in a couple months, I think they're going to change her look again. And so when she appears in Rebels, obviously there's a big time jump. And just to show you guys a quick comparison, here is a Rebels Ahsoka, and you can see the difference. Now this version of Ahsoka is supposed to be the adult version of her, and it's about 20 years or so after the Clone Wars, so she's much older, and you can see how like the tails on her head are longer on the front and the back, and you can see how the costume has evolved, and they did things like they put armor plating on her on the front and the sides and on her legs and stuff, and you can just see that. I just want to show you guys the difference in the costume. And of course, this is supposed to be her about 20 years older than what she is here. So, but this is one of the more recent Ahsoka releases. This comes with a 2-pack. It comes with her and Vader, and it's a figure 2-pack, but this is actually my favorite design of her. I just like seeing her as an adult. I'm a big fan of this character, and I was a little bit disappointed when she appeared in Rebels because they used her they barely used her. It was such a small. She had very few appearances. She only appeared in a couple episodes, and when she did, it was usually pretty brief, and I just wanted to see them use this character a little more. But we're looking at this one today, and so this is how she looked in the Clone Wars animated series. And so let's quickly run through the movements on this figure. So looking at her head first here, which you're going to have limited head movement because of the tails coming off her head on the front and the back. She has 3 of them. And so her head movement's going to be very limited, but you got side to side and a very minimal up and down. And again, it's just, you can see right here where they're hitting on her shoulder and on her back here. So, I mean, it feels like the head is on a ball joint, but there's just not much movement to it. And so moving down to her shoulders here, you have an up and down, and you should have a rotation. And at her elbow, you have an up and down and a rotation. And it looks like there is no wrist articulation on this figure, unfortunately. And then moving down to her waist, you have waist articulation right here. And it's just a simple rotation. And it, it feels like there's a little bit of back and forth movement, but I don't think the character is meant to do that. I think that's just a little bit of a design flaw. And then moving down to her legs here, you have just basic back and forth like a standard 3 3/4 inch figure. There's no rotation at the hip. But then when you get down to the knee here, you have an up and down and a round and round rotation. And on her ankles, it's the same thing. You have a little bit of back and forth movement. It seems like that's a little bit limited. And then you have a rotation on her foot as well. So fairly large amount of articulation on this character, and that's very cool. And so what we're looking at here is, if you look on her belt right here, you'll see these little silver spots on her belt are actually, if you look very closely, you'll see there's little holes in those little silver spots. And what that is for, when you look at the lightsaber handles, and you'll see there's these little tiny pins or pegs sticking out of the lightsaber handles, the ones without blades, and that's where you'll insert the lightsaber into the belt so she can have bladeless handles on her belt. And as you can see, just like her lightsabers, the handles are different and they're different sizes. They have slightly different design, and one's larger than the other. And again, it's the same thing with the lightsabers that have the blade. You can see one blade is obviously larger than the other. And the same thing with the handles. The handles are different sizes and slightly different design. So one of the things that I really like about these Black Series is the extra accessories and things like that. So let's see how well she holds these lightsaber handles fit onto her belt. So what you're going to do is line the hole up with the peg, and it should slide right in there. I'm having a hard time spinning this thing. Alright, there you go. So that's what it looks like. And it's in there fairly well. It's not coming out. Sometimes these little belt clips can be, just because they're such small little pieces, if the molding on the parts aren't exactly right, sometimes it doesn't work all that well, but these seem to be working pretty well. And again, this one's in here pretty good. It doesn't come out if you tap it or anything like that. And if you shake the figure, they stay in there, so very good. And so the other thing I wanted to look at real quick is her hand sculpts. And you can see they're slightly different. This one, she kind of has her fingers almost in a force using position, but then it's also in a position where you can stick a lightsaber in there, because of course she has two. And you can see this one's more of an open fist with the fingers more in a line for holding the lightsaber. So of course, if you're familiar with Ahsoka, you know she, in the Clone Wars TV show, she uses a lightsaber with a green blade, and then when you get into the Rebels TV show, she evolves into using lightsabers with white blades. So, but there you go. And she holds both of them fairly well. They're in there pretty good. They're not going to come out if you shake her and stuff, and that's what you want to see. So very cool. And let's see here. Can we swap them in either hand? Does it matter? I don't think it will. But all right. And then, of course, we want to do the quality test. Will she stand on her own? All right. Very good. Very nice. All right, guys, there she is from the 3 3/4 inch Black Series line. This is Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars TV show. And thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. And if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe to the channel. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.